This is Fountain
Every
Street
week I find it
Church.
hard to find the best ones, but somehow, like I said, you'll hear what I'm trying to say even when the words
Here,
aren't right.
we strive to free the mind, grow the soul, and change the world. Here, there is freedom to doubt and freedom to believe. Here, you can find a house of prayer for all people.
The swallow up Jonah.
Welcome to Fountain Street Church. Join us on the journey.
For the mercy of your plan, help me be strong, help me be, help me. Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, light in my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, hold me together, be forever near me. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, light in my darkness, pour over me your holiness, for you are holy. Breath of heaven, breath of heaven, breath of heaven.
In the early days of the 21st century, many Americans were struggling to make ends meet. Many jobs had shifted south and overseas, and Michigan felt the economic downturn especially hard. Most people knew a friend or a neighbor or a family member who had lost work. Joseph and Mary had been living in Detroit, and they were blessed to be expecting the birth of their first child. This joyful time for them was overshadowed by the fact that Joseph had recently lost his job in the auto industry. Deciding it was a time for a change, Joseph and Mary returned to the place of Mary's birth, Grand Rapids, to seek work and a fresh start on life. It was a difficult move for both of them. The winter weather was bitter, the night skies were clear, but the temperatures were very cold, and Mary was near the end of her pregnancy. Upon her arrival to Grand Rapids, she was ready to deliver her baby, and Joseph was divided between the pride of becoming a father and the worry over what the future held for their little family. Joseph, who cared deeply for Mary, was worried about her and knew they needed to find a place to rest soon. And when Mary was overtaken by the pains of labor and could walk no more, Joseph led her to a sheltered place in a nearby alley. But first, They went to the hospital. And discovered that their insurance was not accepted there. So then, Joseph led Mary to a sheltered place in a nearby alley. He found some crates to sit on and helped Mary get as comfortable as she could. He looked around and found a box that was big enough to hold a newborn child and put his coat on top of it, fashioning a tiny bed so the baby would have a warm place to lie. Late into the night, Mary gave birth to a son, and they named him Jesus. There were animals in the alley, dogs and cats and mice, and they moved toward the little family with interest. The animals were no more afraid of the intruding humans than they were of each other. Their warm breath and their gentle presence brought comfort to Mary and Joseph and to the baby Jesus. Far into that long, clear night, Mary and Joseph sat among the animals, watching their newborn child sleep.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be.
Meanwhile, in Grand Rapids, there were others out that night. Firefighters, students heading back from classes, workers on their way home from late shifts, and gangs protecting their neighborhoods. And there were the people who make the streets their home. Now, the gang members were a bit edgy that night. Something was going down, and they didn't quite know what. There was a tension in the cold night air. Suddenly, the gangs were startled by a bright light, and an angel appeared before them. Frightened, they stopped to listen as she spoke.
Be not afraid, for I bring you news of great joy. Tonight in the city of Grand Rapids, a child has been born who can bring peace and joy to all people. This should be a sign to all people. Recognize your anger and throw it away. Follow the star, and you will find the child swaddled in the work coat of a man in a small alley, surrounded by his mother and father with the animals of the city.
And then the whole sky lit up with a host of angels praising life and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace and goodwill to all." Please join me in singing "Angels We Have Heard on High." The words are printed in your order of service.